Welcome to a special fans. Welcome to a special fan submitted episode of Swoop Luke, because as of yesterday I hit 100 subs. Shout out to my 100th sub, Mercury. Really appreciate you. Actually, I appreciate every single one of you. Thanks for taking your time to view these little videos that I make, and it means a lot to me. So yesterday on social media, I asked you guys to submit a couple questions, and man, I was bombarded, thousands upon thousands of requests. I picked out a bunch of them, and I'm going to answer them now for you all. The first one comes from Leah Maker, apologies if I got that wrong, and they ask, thoughts on Cox and Thomas? Right off the bat, I think that they're both great players. Thomas hasn't had the year that he had last year. He had a breakout year last year after being away for a couple seasons because of that, suspension with the Asada and stuff like that. On average, he's down on a lot of key factors, including goals, behinds, marks, disposals, clearances even in that forward 50. So you can see that he's just not having that season. I feel like maybe Collingwood are playing him in more of a defensive forward sort of role, bring that pressure and stuff. But even then, he's below average on tackles compared to last year, inside 50s and 1%ers. So I do think he needs some time in the VFL to get that edge back that he had last year and be part of that Swoop squad again. Nick Del Santo said it best the other day when he said that he was sick of hearing about Cox's prelim last year. I thought that prelim game, yes, okay, it was his breakout game, but I thought that was going to propel him to the next level of where we needed him to be. Hence why we didn't go for Lynch. We didn't make a play for another big forward because we had Cox, Checkers, and Ben Reid. Cox started off this year really strongly. Wasn't kicking a lot of goals, but he was that presence down forward. Ever since going down with that ankle injury against Essendon, he just hasn't been the same player. I think he missed about 5 games coming back. I feel like Cox is a very emotional driven player. By that I mean that, he kicks a few goals, gets that momentum, and he keeps building. Being out for 5 weeks, coming back into the squad when we needed him, then not performing, then the next week not performing, he's getting lower and lower. I do think he needs a time in the VFL, like I said, with Thomas, but with this lack of depth, with these injuries, there's no one to bring up. So you just got to play him in the seniors and hope that he finds his form. I also feel like we're playing him a little bit up the ground too much. He's not as agile and as quick as Mycheck, and we do play Mycheck up the ground. Not when I mean up the ground, I mean like towards the centre, that link-up play off the wings as the big tall marking forward. I think Cox works best when he's 20 to 30 metres out in front of goal, standing still. The ball's coming just on top of him, big clunky marks. That's where I feel he works best and where he needs to be playing. So this next one, Boston Kennedy asks, do you think our form will be better in the next 3 weeks or more of the same? So it's obvious to see that we're in a low patch this year. Yes, we were winning games where we were only playing 1 good quarter, but we're still playing decent enough footy to win those games. We don't have that 1 good quarter in us, and we haven't for the last 5 or 6 weeks. I know every team goes through them. We had a patch last year. The Eagles had the same patch last year. Richmond the year before, and we know what went on to those. But I've always said that history like that or stats like that doesn't mean a lot. I saw a stat, just to go on a bit of a tangent, that said, in 2017, Richmond was 6th and then won the premiership. Now they're 6th, same percentage, same wins, losses. Does that mean that they're back? It's like, nah, everything worked out for them in 2017. Doesn't necessarily mean everything's going to work out for them in 2019. So in saying that, yes, we've had a patch. I think that this game against the Eagles is going to be do or die for our season and definitely for our top 4 credentials. I think that the GWS game and the Richmond game are very winnable. We match up really well against Richmond, and GWS aren't in any good form, kind of like where we are at the moment. I do believe that the Hawthorn game was kind of a step up from us, definitely from the Kangaroos game. Yes, we still didn't play good football. Yes, we lost, but we were playing a little bit better than we did against the Bulldogs, and I think making a statement in the West against the Eagles on Friday is going to be very telling and very momentum building for the next couple of weeks. So Tyson Hubbard asks, what do you think the Pies need to do to bring the season back on track after a couple of losses? So the short answer for that is win. The long answer for that is to just take the game on. We're not taking the game on. The only couple guys that have been doing it recently are a little bit, Crisp and Pendlebury when he can, when he's free and not getting tagged through the middle. Teams are starting to apply heaps of pressure around us, and we're just kicking in hope that one of our teammates gets it, or you saw what happened with Sicily. We were kicking it down, Sicily was just taking those marks. So we've got to lower our eyes and start that running game. In 2018, we were very good at that. Those 1-2 handballs, breaking the game open, running out. This year, we just haven't been able to do that. And we can. We've got the skill there. We've got the guys. We've got the personnel. I just think that if we can get that 2018 Collingwood brand, keep running, stop those kicking in hopes, we can start to get our season back on track. But in saying that, 2 or 3 wins on the trot will definitely get our season on track and where it should be. Deb Foley asks, who do you think the Pies' next captain will be once Pendles is done? Well, hopefully Pendles has a couple more seasons, but I've got this gut feeling that Pendles is going to give up the captaincy at the end of the year and focus more on his role in the team. So if that does happen, or when Pendles retires as captain, I would like Taylor Adams to be the next Collingwood captain. He personifies the motto side by side. He leads by example. He's a great footballer, and he's young enough to take us to our next flag. So Taylor, if you're watching, you've got my vote. So Gina Westons asks, do you think Grundy will leave? Crying face emoji, tear emoji. Whew, this is a hard one. My heart is telling me that no, he'll stay, he'll do what De Goey did, take a little bit of a pay cut. I told him make this that when Geelong were winning all their premierships, their players were like, yes, we're building a great foundation. We'll start taking pay cuts so we can bring players in, so we can keep the team together. And that's such an unselfish thing to do. Hopefully Grundy takes that role, but my gut is saying, no, he'll go back to Adelaide and be with his brother. But when will he leave? He's not a free agent till the end of next season. So if he says to Collingwood, no, I want to leave this year, try and facilitate a trade, that's actually the best possible scenario for Collingwood. Adelaide currently have pick 2 thanks to Carlton's dumb trading philosophy, and that could be a part of that package deal for Grundy. But also that Riley O'Brien kid that they've got rucking, he's actually really good. Not as good as Grundy, but he's younger than Grundy, so maybe in a couple seasons. O'Brien and that pick 1 or pick 2 for Grundy, I think is an actual super fair deal and one I'd like to see happen if he chooses to go this year. But also in saying that, Adelaide could say, no, we'll just wait till he's a free agent next year and take him then. And that could kind of not play in their favour if Grundy says, no, I want to go this season. He's like, oh, Adelaide must not want me that much if they're not going to try and grab a trade for me. I think I'll stay at Collingwood. So I don't know, it's a bit crazy. I do hope he stays, but I think he'll go. So the last question is from Jason Del Socorro, and they ask, what would be your Collingwood top 22 list if every player was available and playing at their best? Now this is a bit of a hard one. I've had to drop some players, and this might be a bit contentious, but at the moment, this is who I've got. I'm not going to go through and justify every single position, only a couple, so let's go. So starting in the back line, Maynard, Roughhead, and Shaz, followed by Howe, Moore, and Crisp. Crisp and Howe give us that run. Obviously Moore and Roughhead, those 2 staples down the back. Shaz has been playing really well. When he's at his best, he's a good intercept marker. And Maynard is just a mongrel and exactly what we need in this team. So across the middle, I've got Main, Pendles, and Phillips. Followed by the half forwards in side bottom, Checkers, and Stevo. Side bottom, I love when he's in the forward line. He's real dead-eye for goal. And he can also provide that link-up play when he pushes onto that wing. So the forward line will be Elliott, Cox in the middle, and De Goey. Like I just said previously, Cox that 20-30 metres out from goal, palming it down to Elliott and De Goey. Perfect. So the followers, Grundy and Ruck, obviously, Treloar and Adams. And now the interchanges are where it's a bit, I've had to drop some guys, add some guys who at their best are amazing. Beams, Langdon, Wells, and Varco. Varco's forward pressure is second to none. Yes, he doesn't get a lot of disposals or kick a lot of goals, but he creates those turnovers for Elliott, for De Goey, Stevo, etc. And Wells, if he could get his body right, he would be in line for All-Australian every year. But unfortunately, at the moment, we know what his body's like. But this is who would be, if they were at their best, at their prime, definitely have Wells in there. So thank you to everyone who submitted, much appreciated. And if you'd like to get shouted out, or if you got more questions that you want me to answer, find me on Facebook on all those Collingwood groups, find me on Instagram at Swoop Luke, send me a message, comment on my photos. And in the meantime, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets, like, comment, subscribe. Let's get to 200. And until then, I'll swoop you later.